Good morning, my creative friends. I am coming to you today from an unusual time for me. This is Sunday, March 15, and normally we are in our adult Bible fellowship class, and my husband is usually teaching about now. 9 o'clock, yes, be in the middle of it. So, and I video him, so normally I am running a camera about this time, and the guys decided to cancel this morning because we've got ice coming through. That's mainly the reason. And I don't think it's supposed to be very good today or later today into tomorrow. Stuff is already... Our quilt guild was already canceled for tomorrow night and all kinds of things. But yeah, we were concerned about ice this morning, and it's kind of coming through right now. So I think it was a good decision. Anyway, so this is like kind of bonus time for me because I'm not usually home. And I wanted to do a video. I had that on my list last week to get accomplished, and it's the only thing I didn't get to. So I'm kind of tickled to get this done this morning. So welcome. If you are new, I'm Sherry, and I live in what's called the Cedar Valley of Iowa, northeast Iowa, and have been quilting and stitching for a long time. I cross-stitched back in the days, in the 80s, and made really right into probably the 90s, made a lot of things. And then kind of shifted more to quilting. I became a quilter when I was a teenager, made my first quilt. So been sewing since I was like 11, made clothes. My grandma taught me. We made 2 dresses. That was the first 2 things I made. She would draw the lines and I would sew. So have been, doing those kinds of things for a very long time. And then it kind of moved more to quilting, worked in a quilt shop for 10 years. And then right before the pandemic, or the creeping crud, as I like to call it, I was going through some stuff, and I had all these cross-stitch books, and I kind of started going through them, and I thought, you know what, there's stuff in here I like. So I started, not knowing that there was Flosstubes out there or whatever, so I started stitching then, and did a bunch of things, and then kind of, I don't know, figured out that there was Flosstubes out there, and there was all these people stitching, and then there's some people like Carol in Florida. I mean, there's several that never quit. Kathy down in El Paso. Oh my goodness, the stuff those gals have done, over their lifetime. Just beautiful work. Anyway, so I am going to, I have a few things that I have purchased that have come in. I have a couple final finishes, and they're kind of things that have gotten remade, or one piece is something that my mother did and never did anything with. And then I'm going to show you the 2 patriotic pieces that I'm still chugging away on. And then I'm going to do a little trunk show of some of my Easter decor. Okay, so that's kind of where we're going today. And it's, as usual, not all that well organized. So I just have piles of stuff. I only have so much room, and so we just kind of have to go with what we can do here. All right, I'm going to start with what I got finished, and I guess we'll go with this one. I meant to get this one done back closer to Valentine's Day, And this is a piece my mother did and never did anything with. So I'm sure, my guess is it was stitched in the 80s, late 80s, maybe early 90s, in there somewhere. That would be my guess. And so I decided I wanted it to be a stand-up deal. Got just a little bit of fiber fill there. And here's the fabric I picked on the back. And it's just one from my stash. And I just trying to pick something that I thought went with it. And I need to write a little tag and I'll hook it to the back saying that my mother did stitch this and that I just finished it. But I thought it turned out super cute. I love them. So I think this might be kind of a year-round thing. I think I'm going to leave them out. They're really cute. And just an FYI, that shape, I wanted this shape. And at Christmas, if you remember, I made this and see his shape. And so I took the pattern out of here and I took it over to my copy machine and, oh, just a second. Let me get the proportional wheel. I forgot to get that. Talk amongst yourselves. Because this is such a handy thing. Now, probably in today's world, you can figure this out online. There's probably like a calculator, like how much to reduce something or how much to enlarge something. But I'm old school. I've had one of these for absolutely years and years, and you can still buy them. They're called a proportional scale. And they are super handy for stuff like this. So to be real honest, I'm going to keep this pattern because it's got the shape. I love the shape. And who knows, you know, what else that I might stitch that I might want this shape for. And so I measured my piece and I knew how wide it was. And you take the original pattern and I measured the width of that. So say it was 6 inches and I wanted to take this down to 5. I'm just blowing, guessing here. Well, then I would take, here it says size of original. So that's 5, what did I say? 5 inches. And I want to take it down to, well, it doesn't matter. We'll just guess. I want to take it down to 4 inches. That means I need to reduce it it's 80%. So I would need to, put 80% in my thing. And so it tells you, and it does it to enlarge, it does it to small. And I mean, it's got like a bajillion. You can get pretty specific. It's got 1/8 inch marks on this. So, and you just line it up and then it tells you what the percentage is or how much you enlarge it or how much you make it. It tells you that. It's called a proportional scale. And I just keep it over there by my printer where, the copier and the printer live. And it's always just right there if I want to use it. And it's handy for that kind of thing. So that's what I did. I just reduced it and I got this size. And then because the base was right here, it shrunk the base too. So I traced it and made it thick so I had a nice template to work. And actually, I am just going to put this inside here. I'm just going to keep it in here because who knows, I may want that size again, or if I want a different size, that's okay. I'll do the same thing again, you know, large it, make it larger, make it smaller. You could do either way. But anyway, I wanted to mention that because that's kind of a handy thing to know. Proportional scale. And you can, I've looked before, you can find them on Amazon. And then I was going to mention to you, I've got this nice little piping around the edge. And I just wanted something simple. And this is the kind of thing I look for when I go thrifting. And I'm going to buy this every single time, unless it's something, it's ugly. But this is, I wouldn't know how many yards. It says 36 yards. This is yards and yards and yards of it, and it was $2.49. And it's the piping, the edging I used. There you go. You can see it on that figure. And it's not too big. So to be real honest, like for these little pieces we do, it's the perfect size. Because if you have bought in piping, sometimes that's too heavy. So anyway, I was going to mention that is something that I would buy. And then I've got it really close here. Here's another thing I bought. And I don't know how much I paid for this. These were black zippers. All in a bag. And I think these were a couple dollars. And I thought, yeah, buy those every time. So, you never know what you're going to find. And I've used several of those already. So anyway, that's some of the things that I look for when I'm out and about. Okay, now let's see here. This is, and I don't know, I've got several of my quilt friends here that watch, and maybe they can help me. I know this was a gift. I got this originally as a bag with this band on it for Easter from a secret sister. So I don't know if it was you, Karen, Pam, Dee, Helene, Chris. I don't think Chris watches. I don't know. Can you tell me? Anyway, when I got my Easter stuff out, it was, like a kind of a gift bag kind of thing. And there was some stuff in it. And I just haven't used the gift bag. And it had this darling little band on it. And this year when I got my Easter stuff out, I thought, I got to do something with that because it's just sitting, I don't have a good place to display it. I just didn't have a good thing to do with it. So I cut the bag open, and kind of messed around and tried to figure out what I wanted to do. And actually I left the band sewed on. The bag was made out of, can't really see it all that well, this pansy fabric there at purple. And so I just left some of it on, the bottom and the top. And then I actually folded it. There's actually a pocket here. So you could put a pair of scissors or I got to figure out what I'm going to put in there. And then I saved the closure. It was gift tied with the little ribbon. And then I tied that around. And then I added the little pink gingham. And then I was doing a little sewing with some scraps. And this showed up. And I thought, oh, I think I need to put that on there. Because it was just that big. What are you going to do with that? Otherwise, throw it in the garbage. But it had these isn't that cute? Cute little bunnies and eggs. So it's going on for another life. So one of my cabin fever gals, you need to tell me, this is the one thing, I really usually remember everything, who I got it from. This, I don't. So let me know which one of you did that for me. I'd like to know. So anyway, super cute. And so now it gets to live on in another life. It'll go in one of my bowls or baskets or something. So super cute. And I'm pretty sure that was Leisure Arts design back in the day. Okay, now let's go to my haul, what I bought. Which not a ton, but I did get a couple things. I saw several people. I like carrots. I did get out, I don't know, just maybe one that I'm going to show you that I've done for Easter. And this is a Stacy Nash, and it's a little carrot needle book. And I thought, oh my gosh, is that cute? That's sweet. Oh my word. It's done on 40 count, but see, I maybe could do that on 20 count. You know, I've got 20 count that would be, and I'd probably be happier on that. So that's not going to be this year's project. As you know, I'm kind of razored in on my patriotic stuff. So, but yeah, that's going to be something I want to do in my future. Just so I ordered that mainly because I had to order some floss anyway for a couple pieces for this. I finally got the America 250 from Plum Street. This was an exclusive from the Attic last September, and the only place you can get this is the Attic. And as I know, I think they're inundated with orders for these. So if you want this and you place an order, you're gonna wait. I'm just telling you. It takes a while when you order from them. So don't think you're gonna get it next week and start stitching on it. Probably not gonna happen. So anyway, this was, I'll get out the cover sheet so see that maybe a little better. I loved this ever since I saw it. Isn't that lovely? So it's 250 by Paulette Stewart, Plum Street Samplers. And she has come out with another one, and I'm trying to think for market. She came out with a great, it's big, it's very big. But I really wasn't that tempted because there's enough elements in it that I've already done in a piece that I've got upstairs. You know, it's got them in the boat, you know, George Washington crossing the Delaware. It's got that little scene. And see, I've already got that upstairs in a piece, and I can't tell you what the name of that one is. But I like this one. So I've got my thread all together. I've got to put this in something yet, but got my thread all together here. And I think I'm going to do it on this. This is 36 count tin roof. So that's my thought. Now I may change my mind, but that's what I'm going with right now, or that's what I'm leaning towards. And I just was pulling out something out of my stash. It has to be a linen because there's a bunch of over one in here. So it's going to have to be a linen. There's too much over one. Sometimes, you know, I change things, but I kind of really want to do this the way it is. So I think this is what I'm going to do. but I haven't started yet. Not ready to do that just yet, but this will take a minute. I'm trying to see what the thread count is. 300 by 162. So it's not exactly small. So anyway, yeah, and I got myself a note in here that I needed a DMC, but I found it in another project. So yeah, so I have everything ready to go. I just need to dial in on the fabric. And you know, I may kind of look at something else there in my stash. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. I got time to ruminate on that because I'm still finishing up the big sampler that I'm working on, and I'm close. And I'm not starting that until I have this other one done. Then I got both of these books by Emily Bailey, and she does a lot of scrap quilting. I think she's in Utah. I'm pretty sure. I've seen her on YouTube, I guess. I get her newsletter, you know, she writes, but she just does really cool scrap quilts, and I love scrap quilts. I really do. See here, I pick out a couple of my favorites. How fun are those? I mean, seriously. Oh, I love this. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And I love this too. She does cool stuff. Well, here. That's another picture of that one. So, I don't know if you like scrap quilts. Oh, and then she even she's got a bag in here. Remember, I'm making Christmas bags, bingo bags. So that one, I need to actually mark that because I need to, oh, look at here. Cute little table runner. All that scrap. Green, and then pick some flower colors, you know. We all have that stuff. Super cute. So that book was Scrap Quilts by Emily Bailey is her name. So if you like that kind of thing, you might want to look that up. And then she has another one called Crumb Quilts. And equally fun. Let's see here. Oh, look at all these different blocks. See, I love pieces like that. I just love those. And I have all of that over here. Oh my word. So many scraps. And even this, look at this. How cool is that? You could make a small one and do a baby quilt. Super cute. Oh, and then this is like a water. Let me see if I can find here. Look at that. It's got water and like a dolphin or a whale, and then seaweed, fish, you know, turtles, all the things. And here's you doing circles, scrap circles. I mean, see, you realize you can make, you know, any shape you can make it into scrap. Here's applique with crumb fabric. And I think she cuts out, she uses AccuQuilt too. So if you have dies, I mean, you don't have to, but even better if you do. So, oh, and even this is sweet. Little pillow cushion that says love. How fun is that? So just, that one is Crumb Quilts by Emily Bailey. Okay. So that's kind of what came in new this time. All right, let's get to what I'm stitching on, my WIPS. And there's my flag bag. And I'm working on the barn. Still. Stripes, I'm working on the barn. I still have the ampersand to do. And this I only work on in the morning if I get up and I don't have a headache. So that's kind of the caveat there. It's the only time I work on it. But it's coming. It's coming. You can start to see the detail. The top of the barn, I'm down to fill in. So I do like a couple strands or two of that, and then I move on to something else, working down here towards the bottom, obviously. But this is a pretty full coverage piece, actually. So it's going to take a minute. But it's coming. And I love how it looks. Really love how it looks. And this is on, let's see, this is on 20 count oatmeal, Rushco, 20 count Rushco oatmeal Ada. I don't know if that's from Rush. I'm not sure what that Rushco means. You guys can tell me in the comments. Oatmeal Ada, 20 count. And I like this. It's little, it is little, but it is easier than linen for sure. And then this is my backing fabric. I've already got it in here. That's what I used for the first piece, the stars. And I probably won't even finish this till I get that out, you know, so I kind of do them the same. So, and then I'll need to get that ampersand done too. So then that one would be finished. But it's coming. And then at night, typically I don't cross stitch that much during the day. I usually am quilting or we've been on the road a lot. Oh my goodness. We have been to Ames the last 2 Sunday afternoons to hear 2 grandsons sing. We went to Denver to take some friends to a funeral, and then we attended it as well because it was somebody we knew, and that was kind of a last minute trip. Their daughter got sick and couldn't take them, and so we just decided we were gonna drive them so they wouldn't have to do that by themselves. And then we've been to Dubuque, been to Des Moines. Oh, we moved one of the granddaughters to Omaha after that last storm where we got ice. That was harrowing. I won't go into it, but it was quite the day. We did get there, but it wasn't without duress. I'm just gonna say. So frankly, I'm so glad to be home today and not have to deal with the weather. Let's see here. This might be good to put this on. So, and I took the little barn one with me when we went to Denver, and I stitched on that in a couple evenings, but I didn't take my sampler with me. But guys, it's almost done. I'm so close. I am so close. Look at that. Isn't it lovely? Oh, Last night I was working down here. I finished those two and I was coming across and I ran out of steam. So I was hoping to get the corner done, you know, so I'd be all done right to here. But my corner's not quite done. And then the border up here, I think, from here down, I've got the bones of it. But, and then of course there's Uncle Sam is here holding the flag. So there's stuff there that I have to do, a couple motifs, but it's coming. I'm hoping a week from now I have this done, and I need to go digging in with my frames to see if I've got something or if I need to go thrifting a frame, which has got to be, you know, somewhat good sized. I'm hoping I have something back there that I like in the archive. But isn't it lovely? Oh my goodness. Get up so I can stand up. She's cute. And the only changes I made on this was in kind of white. I changed it to blue. And then the urns, I kind of changed to a gray. They were white and they just disappeared. I didn't really want to introduce another color. So I wanted to keep in with the palette that was here. And then let me think, what else did I change? Oh, these trees were done in a combination of a greens, and I used a hand dyed for these trees at the top and the bottom and the top here. And actually, I wished I would have picked something that was slightly more variegated than what it was, but it's okay. There's a slight variegation on it. But, so anyway, I'm pretty excited. I'm always pretty excited to work on this at night because I'm so close. So close. Just want it done. And I just love everything about it. And then the other thing will be I have to add, I've got to add my name somewhere. I've got to add the 2026. And I'm thinking I want to do that maybe right in here. So I'll have to, do a little charting on some graph paper to come up with that. And this is, let's see here. I think I go through this every stinking time, and it's it's right here on the, I see I do this every time. I'm looking for something and it's on here. This is on 18 count Shrekie's Tan by Needle Bling Designs. And I really wouldn't have minded doing this on 20 count just because it would have made it a little smaller. But I love it. It's a neat piece. I just love it. So cool. So I'm hoping by a week from now I have it finished. So very close. Very, very, very close. And it's, pretty exciting when you're that close and you kind of just want to power through, right? So it is close. And most of that sampler's all DMC except for that, this one. And I just pulled this from my stash. It was a dried clover from Victorian Motto, which you don't hear people talk about them. I got a whole bunch of Victorian Motto hand-dyed in a estate sale. So I just decided that was a good place to use some of it. Okay. All right. So now I'm down to Easter kind of. I've got a whole basket of wonderfulness here in front of me. And oh, I was going to talk about, you want to see my apron? I thought I just grabbed this at the last minute and I thought, oh, I'll put this on. This is one of my grandma's aprons. Isn't it cute? It's feed sack. Got a little pocket here. Bias binding, all trimmed in bias binding. And then the back is kind of different. It comes down and it goes through this center thing. But super cute. I've got it hanging up, and I get this out at Easter. It's in my Easter box because aren't these lovely spring colors? And on a day like today, I'm going to look for spring wherever I can get it, and I guess it's inside because it's not outside. Today is, yeah. The house, I've got little lights all over the house, so the house always looks really cute on dark days. That's the good news. But it is dark out because my little lights are twinkling. Then I thought I'll pull this out just because it's a cute way to display something. These, I think, I'm pretty sure these were leftover triangles from a little spring piece I did. And so I just put together this little tiny thing. And then I've got it on a wooden clipboard, and that's something you can look for at the thrift store. This happens to be my mother's. She liked clipboards, and she had several. And I saved every one of them. And then I had a nurse friend. She had a wooden clipboard, so I took hers when she was downsizing. So I've got it upstairs. But I love to put stuff on wooden clipboards. So that might be something you can look for thrifting. And I mean, this is great for pictures, ephemera, I don't know, you name it. Put recipes up here and have it in your kitchen, you know, be super cute. So anyway, I pulled that at the last minute just because the clipboard is so cute. All right, well, I'm just going to start pulling things out of my tray here. I've got a whole tray full of stuff. I think I did this last year. This was from a chart I got from the attic called Springtime, and I like unusual finishes. So as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, and then we thrifted this down in Arizona because Jeff says to me, where are you ever going to find a clock? Oh, ye of little faith. And we found several of them because I need to do, I have another pattern for a Christmas one, and I haven't done it yet. But just a simple little thing. And I've got him sitting upstairs. I love that. And my husband took the guts out of it, you know, so I could finish it in there. Yeah, this is 2019. So this is when I went back into cross stitching because I found these things that I still liked. And a lot of them were in like Leisure Arts or The Love of Cross Stitch, you know, that you guys all know what those series of magazines are. So this was one of them, and I made him into a little stuffy, and he's cute. And then I've got some chenille yarn here, and I'm pretty sure I dyed that with some, you know, like some distress ink or something, you know, that I put down on my glass mat and spritzed it with water and then swished this around. I'm pretty sure this was white and kind of took it down a little bit. So he's pretty cute. This Bee's Got Knees. This was from one of those online retreats. That was last spring from Hands-On Design, and this was the class she taught, and I did take that. It was very fun. I would do it again. I typically don't do the jingle ball. A lot of people do the jingle ball. That's just not a good time for me. I don't have a whole weekend in December to sit and stitch and, watch people, whatever, take classes. That's just not a good time frame for me to be sitting for hours and days. So I kind of let that go. But this turn, I've never made one like this. Super cute. There's a lot of stitching in this. Look at the bottom. But her directions are stellar. Highly recommend any class from her. And I love these pins. And I love the idea of these pins. You can make your own specialized pins for, a fraction of what some of those pins are super expensive. Okay. I did bring some quilts down too. This one I did last year. I finished. And this is all, these baskets are all made from my Grandma Calmer and her mother, Great Grandma Weaver. That would be on my paternal side. And I have their scrap baskets and I have their yardage in a cupboard, and the scrap baskets are in a couple Lunenburger baskets. And so these are all foundation pieced. This piece took a minute to do, not gonna lie. But they were very fun. And then the border was out of their fabric. I have so much of this. I just need to make more of it. Let's see, the pattern is, happen to have it in the pocket. Now that I'm doing videos, I'm trying to be better about keeping the patterns with things. So that's the pattern for this. I'm sure you can still get it. Here's the back. I took another vintage piece of feed sack. Isn't it fun? And then I put casings on my quilts because I have a lot of places to hang things. And I used vintage linens for that. So this is an old pillowcase. And then I machine quilted this. Got a little thread there on my long arm. So very cute. I love it. It looks so cute hanging upstairs. Okay, and then I have this one. This is all hand done. I did this quite a few years ago. I have it written down that I probably started it in the 1990s, which I think that's probably true. But I didn't finish it till 2016. And this is all vintage fabric. So I think I got stymied as to how to finish it. And I ended up adding a border and then this little vine and these yo-yos, and I hand quilted this one. Isn't it cute? And then some of them are fussy cut. Let's see here. Here, this one. Fussy cut and my friend Karen and I think we traded fabric on a couple of these. For a couple of these blocks. And this one's got fussy cut too, that purple on the outside. Those are fussy cut. So kind of fun. Yeah. I love this piece. And it looks the part. It looks old. Okay, so now we're gonna kind of carefully pick things off the top here. All right. Here is Happy Easter. And these I think are Sassy, in the Sassy Stripper line from Stitching with the Housewives. And I can't tell you the names of them, unfortunately. But I think if you would search sassy strippers, you know, in their Etsy shop, you would come up with, you know, the ones that are these shapes. And this book thing came from Hobby Lobby. Not sure if they still have that or not. Don't know. And this would be on a, I'm pretty sure this is on, well, I don't know what it's on. You would guess it was 14. I think it's 14 count. I'm pretty sure it's 2 over 14. Yeah. But I used a dyed background for it. But so it's 3-dimensional, and it's made to lay down, you know, like this. But I stood it up, and then it's not really made for that. So we glued a couple beads underneath there, so it kind of anchors it and holds it, because you can see this one's higher, you know, so it sets good. And then it's got stitching on both sides. So that turned out cute. Okay, this is Vanessa Ann. Do you remember them from years ago? And I don't know, I don't know what book, you know. But I made these a long time ago. And I still love them. They're a covered styrofoam egg. Super cute. And then I've got them in a Lonenberger Easter basket. They sweet. But they would be in a Vanessa Ann book. And if one of you knows, I don't even know if I have that, because when I moved, I kind of thinned my herd a little bit of stuff. I'm pretty sure this is out of Leisure Arts, and it might be a book. I made this years and years ago too. This would have been in the first round of my cross stitching. And I love him. I've had him out every year ever since. So cute. So cute. And then one of my girlfriends, she was a secret sister, made me this one year. And I put it out usually in the spring. Is the only time I kind of have this one out. And it's a violet sampler. And isn't it pretty? Beautiful. All these lovely stitches. Kind of some specialty things. There's some specialty stitches in there. That's on linen. Yeah, it's lovely. So I have a little area upstairs that's just got purple in it. And so that's where it goes. Well, this says 84. Usually like that, I'm surprised on this one, I don't have a date. Because I almost always sign stuff and then dated it. But I don't. I don't see a date on here. This is 84. And I remember I struggled finishing this. This is a Beatrice Potter, and it's like made to look like those sugar eggs. And I remember having quite a time doing, so I don't know, my finishing's not the best, but oh well. I just tuck it in with a lot of other stuff. There I did a bunch of ribbon roses, and today I'd make those out of silk, but back then I didn't have the money for that or the to even know about silk ribbon. That's from 84. And then this one, what did I do this last year? 2024, so 2 years ago. I love her. This is Brenda Gervais. Can't tell you what's the name of it. It says Happy Easter, so I don't know if that's the name of it. So cute. Then I ruched seam binding on it. And I did slit it in the back, and then I had one of these extra eggs. I used that to cover it. How cute is that? And then some carrot fabric. Love carrot fabric. Again, the carrot theme. So super cute. That's in a wood tray upstairs. This is on my trunk. And I'm not sure. This might be buttermilk basin, I'm going to say. Stacked Chicks, April 2022. How cute is that? And I did some hand quilting on it around the thing, and then I did some machine stitching in the borders. And then it's got this darling feather stitch. It's just super cute. That's on my trunk upstairs. Okay, and here's another Stitching with the Housewives. This is that series in a cup. Did this in March of 2022, it says. And this is on one of those blocks. Well, it actually looks like a tag, so I'm sure I covered up whatever was on here. And I've got carrot ribbon, bunny rabbit, then the carrot on top. So super cute. And that sits in one of my tiered trays upstairs. And then this is on a different shelf. Same tiered tray. And it's got this. This was a tag, so they were both the same, and I just covered up what was underneath. I've got a plaid there, and there's Easter ribbon, and there's some more of the carrot ribbon. One of those fake carrots glued on the top. Ivy, just a bunch of stuff. I kind of get out a few things and then just kind of play with it until I like it. Okay, and then I've got a couple carrots here. Might have made this one last year. I don't remember. I'm always looking for different carrot patterns. I've got beans, just, like navy beans or something stuffed in here. It's a drawstring bag, but it's got decorative stitches and then scrap orange fabric. And then I've got a pattern for a set of these, and I only did one last year. I want to do all of them. And I've got the orange fabric to do them. Somehow I had it. Whoop! I don't know if I can get it. Shoot. Just a second here. Oh my gosh. I don't want to bump my tripod. Excuse me. Yes, I did. The hemostats helped. Gave me a couple inches there. There. Super cute. And then I had this eyelash yarn I found my stash, and I thought, oh, that's perfect. It's just perfect. I love these. And there's a whole set of them. I want to do all of them. Not this year. I'm on a mission this year. Hit my patriotic hard and heavy. I want to do so many of these. So many people are coming out with wonderful patriotic stuff. And I have a whole room of that upstairs. So, and then here's this one. This is from Pinker and Punkin. And she has free charts. Oh my goodness. If you don't know about her site, you really need to check that out. She just has, and they're all smalls, would be fast stitches, make great gifts, and they're all free. And I did this one, it says 2025. So here, look at the little garden fabric I used. It was out of my stash, and I slid it in the back and cut that out with a die. And then I used my sewing machine. I have it programmed with my initials and then the year. I don't know if I've done 2026 yet, but I can just stitch it out in a matter of seconds, and then it's marked, and it's done, and then just whip it on the back here to cover the hole. So anyway, I just have one other thing I was gonna mention, just because it would be a quick thing to do. And it would be a chance for you to play with your scraps. I have this mat, this egg mat. And I think I got it as a kit, but the idea of it is so simple. I would imagine you could go online and come up with an egg pattern. You might have to enlarge it. Use your copy machine to do it, and it might take a couple pieces of paper, but get yourself an egg template, and then use interfacing or something. If you used sew-in interfacing as your base, then you wouldn't have to take it out. You can just use that, or you could use a piece of batting. Piece of batting would work, although yeah, batting kind of stretches. I'd use either paper template that you're going to rip away or interfacing, but do string piecing. Just use scraps, and see, this is kind of done at an angle. And then there was some rickrack, but most of them I did decorative stitches down them. So I picked some really pretty threads, and then I did these decorative stitches. This says Happy Easter. How cute is that? So I programmed that into my machine to say Happy Easter, and it stitched it out, and that's in a metallic thread. There's some little heart things. There's a scallop. Just all kinds of different. So you could have a lot of fun with your machine, and then, right sides together. You could add a rickrack around the edge, or you wouldn't have to, or you could just bind it. Isn't that cute? That would be an afternoon project. If you had the pattern ready to go, this would easily be an afternoon project, and you could finish it. So, also, let's see, the giveaway last time, I should mention that. I've already given the gift away. The red work went to my friend Carol, and I'm sorry, not Carol, Cindy. Don't know why I said Carol. Cindy. And she had been bringing me quilts and picking up quilts, so I didn't even have to mail it to her. So she was the lucky winner of the red work, and nobody took the little heart pattern, which you should have. If you watch Nicole's 4, she took that very same thing and did a really cute heart frame, and framed it, and it was a super cute frame. I like my finish. It's just a little pillow, but her picture was, or framed with that particular frame, was very cute. but she used the very same thing. So I don't know that if I put it back in the stash or if I gave it to somebody else. I can't remember. Sometimes I just give it away. So anyway, but nobody spoke for that. I don't have a giveaway this time. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you got a little stitchy inspiration. I probably am going to post this right away on this kind of gloomy, blustery day, and we're supposed to have horrendous winds later, and oh boy, all the things. So winter is not leaving without saying its last word, right? And of course, we're in Iowa. We kind of expect this kind of weather. March can be really crazy. So, and this year seems to be no exception. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Love to hear your comments, what you liked, what tripped your trigger here that I showed you. What are you working on? And I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for joining. Thank you for liking the video, subscribing, all the things. And you have a blessed Easter. Remember the reason for the season, for sure. And I probably will not be back before Easter. I'm trying to do every 2 weeks, and it's kind of not happening. So, or at least recently. If there's anything you want to see me do, just let me know, like a demo or something that I could do. I'm always open to ideas. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.